So I will ask, the meeting is now being recorded. So welcome everybody, for those that have just joined. My name is Linda Hyder. I work for the South East London Chamber of Commerce. We run lots of events, and one of the benefits for our members is that they can host we can arrange a webinar and host that. So this morning we've got Ginkgo, which is a financial business. They are going to be doing a webinar on the business risk can't afford to ignore. So I'm just going to introduce the people on the panel, and that's Darren Wallbank.
Hi.
Hello. Kat and Rachel.
Hi there.
And they will tell you a bit more about themselves as we go through. So Kat is going to share her screen with the slides. So if I hand over to Kat, but while you're doing that, I just want to ask, do you want questions as you go along, Kat, or at the end?
I think if you've got questions, feel free to pop them in the chat as we go along, and I'll either table them during the conversation, or we can pick them up at the end, depending on.
Okay, I'm not sure, is there a chat? I'm not sure there's a chat option on Zoom. I can't actually spot it.
Oh, in that case, then just interrupt and.
Yeah, raise your hand. Yes, I think people can raise their hand. Yep.
Perfect.
Okay, well, I'm gonna while I hand over to you, Kat, I'm gonna mute myself. So over to you, Kat. Thank you.
Right. Hello, everybody. So first of all, let me share my screen. You have to bear with me on the tech side of things. Share screen. We want to share, continue this one. And can you all now see a slide deck? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Well, first of all, welcome everybody. Thank you for taking time out to log on and come and listen to us. This webinar, as Linda mentioned, is kindly hosted by the South East Chamber of Commerce, and we are Ginkgo Financial. We're a financial advisory business based on Blackheath standard. So today we're going to be talking about the business risks you can't afford to ignore. There's really kind of, so first of all, say, unfortunately, Deborah, our original moderator, can't join us today, so you've got me. Apologies for both of us. So there's three key sort of areas that we're going to be looking at: protecting your family as a business owner, protecting your business as a business owner, and also protecting your future. So before we start, I will just introduce today's speakers. Darren, who said hello before, Darren is the Chartered Financial Planner, lead advisor, and one of the co-founders of Ginkgo Financial with Deborah, who sadly can't join us. You've got me, financial advisor, and also Rachel, financial advisor. So, as Linda said, if you've got any questions at any point, pop your hand up and we will do our best to answer them. So what we're going to be learning today, we're going to be looking at the risks, as we said, we can't afford to ignore, but more importantly, what the consequences of those risks are and the potential solutions for you and your business. The consequences and solutions of every business are going to be different. So I should stress, this is not financial advice we are giving you today. This is, we're going to be talking in general about some consequences and solutions, and if you want to have a chat after the webinar and about how this might apply to your business and how we can help them, we're more happy to help you. There will be a question at the end. So we're going to start with a quote from the guy who's pretty good at business: "Predicting rain doesn't count, building art does." Fundamentally, this quote represents everything that Ginkgo Financial is about, and that is, it's about planning. You can have the best business idea, you can have the best strategy, but fundamentally, if you don't think about how things can go wrong and build an art to protect you when things do go wrong, then you are very, very vulnerable. So I will pass you over now to Darren, who's going to start the first section, protecting your family as a business owner.
So
Thank you.
Kat, if you can go to the next screen, and we'll start with the first sort of business risk. Now, what we're really looking at here is the risk to the family of a business owner. So the first risk is relatively straightforward and something we find a lot of business owners don't protect against. That's if they're ill or unable to work. Obviously, the consequences are quite obvious. You might have a loss of income in the short term and potential loss of income in the long term, which can knock on to not being able to afford mortgages, education costs, and regular family issues. It's really important because I find a lot of business owners believe they're never going to stop work, but there are ways to insure against it and have the company fund things like executive income and critical illness plans. We find a lot of business owners are much more keen on critical illness because it pays out when someone claims on a health issue, whether that's a stroke, heart attack, or something else, and it allows them to get back to work as quick as possible while still receiving the payout. We find that much more beneficial than having a normal type of income replacement policy, which only continues to pay out if they cease to work. And a lot of companies, and if you do run a business yourself, the loss of the business would be a far bigger driver to get back to work than being off ill. So we really can, suggest looking at the options between an income policy, which pays only if you don't work, or a critical illness policy, which will pay out based on the illness you it becomes the illness you have, either it's a heart attack, but you could get back to work quite quickly. I mean, there have been cases of people having heart attacks and going back to work in 2 weeks. Whereas if they've had a critical illness policy, they would have got paid out and the money would be there for them and the business and their family. Whereas if it has an income protection policy, it would have paid out very little because they went back to work so quick. That one of the key things we find is missed a lot on illness. I want to pass over to Rachel. She can talk a little bit about power of attorneys and business wills.
Great, thanks, Darren. Yeah, so this is something that's really important to bear in mind, and a really easy step that you can take when you're thinking about protecting your business moving forward is what we call a business power of attorney. So it's effectively the same as a lasting power of attorney that you might set up for yourself in a personal capacity. So some of you may know about those. So there's a lasting power of attorney you might set up for health and welfare, and the other power of attorney that you would normally set up on a personal level is one for your property and finance. And what the business power of attorney is effectively the same, but specifically for any decisions that you want to be made and any kind of decision-making powers that you want to pass on to somebody else for business decisions. So it's a lasting power of attorney for finance and welfare, but specifically setting out your wishes and instructions for the management of your business should you become incapacitated. That's really important for a number of different reasons. One is around continuity. So if you're incapacitated, of course, what you want to ensure is that the kind of day-to-day decision making can continue. It's particularly important for somebody that's running their own business as a sole trader, but also in the case of a partnership, so that you've got clarity between the two of you around what you would like to be happening. It can ensure that control continues so that your attorneys can act on your behalf rather than leaving that to the courts. So you've got control and choice about who steps in your absence or while you're incapacitated. It's really important in terms of legal recognition. So liaising with banks, with HMRC, with other partners, you've got somebody there ready to go who's got clarity around how you want your business run whilst you're incapacitated. So you're avoiding delays in terms of accessing finances, in terms of keeping the business going, which of course is really important in terms of protecting the value of your business and the ability for that to continue whilst you're not well, and also protecting your reputation. They can be flexible, so that's a big advantage. They can be temporary, they can be limited, or they can be broader depending on how you want to use one and how you want to have one in place. Of course, if you haven't got something like that in place, there's a risk that things like bank accounts are frozen, everything just kind of grinds to a halt whilst you're not well. It can cause delays. Without power of attorney, you might end up going through court processes, and ultimately, of course, you're risking then everything kind of grinding to a halt and falling apart. So it's a really relatively simple thing that you can get in place to avoid those risks.
Okay. So the next risk, Kat. Kat, can't hear you. Oh, we'll carry on. Kat's having problems with her headset still. The second risk is losing your life. Obviously, no one wants this one to happen, but we see it. It has happened to clients over the years, and it can have a huge impact on the family. There are ways to protect against it. There's various tax efficient type of life assurance policies which can be set up, funded by the business tax efficiently, but would pay out via trusts to the deceased family. This is really important if you're a director, 100% director and owner of the business. Without having a protection in place, I mean, the impact to the family can be tremendous. They're generally quite cheap. I mean, depending on your age and health, they can start from literally, £7.50 a month for 150,000 cover. Generally, we see a lot of people taking cover that will replace what they perceive the value of the business. It's a small price to pay. I mean, we named our company Ginkgo, which is named after a tree, which actually is part of the reason is it was Hiroshima and they were destroyed, but they came back to life because they've got a plasma inside them that protects against radiation. And it was because the tree had been around for such a long time, prehistoric times, it had this protection against radiation. So it's something very, very small, costs very, very small amounts of money. But if something happens, a huge tragedy to the business, to yourself, it will really change the outcome for the rest of the family. Okay. Any questions on that? Next slide.
Nope. No, I don't think so. So third risk.
Third risk. So this is something that is really, really important when you've got a business partner. If you don't have shareholder protection and buy-sell agreements, the whole business can come to a standstill if your business partner dies. There's been many examples in the past where two business partners, one dies, instantly the business is in effect frozen. For example, it's no longer able to pay dividends out because of the loss of the partner has had an impact on profits, and also because as soon as someone dies, their executors take over. And they may not want any money coming out of the business, so they won't approve dividend payments, they won't approve pay rises. So if your business partner dies and you don't have a shareholder agreement in place and a buy-sell agreement, in effect, the whole business comes to is frozen at that point in time, and it's very limited what you can do until you've been through probate and dealt with the family of the deceased partner. Whereas having a shareholders agreement in place, you've agreed before anything happens what happens if one of you dies, and that can be supported again by a special type of life assurance policy where you've agreed the value of the business when it's all functioning and you're both alive. As soon as somebody dies, their family receive the value you've agreed, and the surviving partner receives the shares and can continue managing the business. Even more important when there's multiple directors and there can be 2 or 3 directors in the business. If one dies, what happens to their shareholding? We have seen instances, there's been instances where the deceased's mother come into the business and started making decisions because she was the executor. So there are serious consequences if there's not a shareholders agreement and protection in place before death.
Absolutely. Okay.
Okay.
Right, so we're now going to look at a slightly different angle, similar risks, but a slightly different angle around protecting your business. So, risk number 4.
So, I think what we've looked at so far is protecting the business owner and their family. But the death of incapacity of a key person, i.e. sales manager, someone that's bringing in a significant amount of business. And this, in many cases, does include the owner operator, but it is protecting the business. What happens to the business? Do you want the business to continue on if your top sales guy is incapacitated? And how would you go about protecting that? So we look at a lot of key man assurances and protections so that the business can continue operating should a key person be incapacitated or die. We generally do this by certain protection policies which pay, on example, a year's salary or the amount it may cost to replace that person. But again, it's the business protecting itself so it can continue on beyond the death of the key person. Without this, we've seen businesses lose significant value, if not close, even if the person that died wasn't a keeper, wasn't an owner director, but was absolutely a key person within the business. It can lead to a loss of confidence in the business, and some other staff subsequently, we've seen examples where staff have started to leave because the leadership team has changed dramatically. So it's very cheap relative to insure a key person, and again, very few companies do it. And they insure the furniture, but they won't insure the staff, which is what we find quite ironic.
I think it's easy to underestimate the emotional impact of death within a business and the knock-on effects of that emotional impact. Like we've touched upon, obviously, staff attrition, loss of confidence, but it's so disruptive, and actually everything you can do to try and minimise that disruption is imperative, because like we know that the odds of companies surviving in these sorts of situations are against them. So
I think there's a 5% chance of someone aged 40 dying before retirement age.
Yeah, a male age 40, non-smoker, has got a 5% chance of dying before retirement.
Yeah.
Which, so for every 100 people in the room, 5 of them won't be there.
If you take 2 people in their 40s, I believe there's nearly a 50% chance that one of them will either die or suffer incapacity before retirement age. So, you know, these statistics are quite high. And when you look at the amount of companies that I say protect against it, it's very, very small. And we as a business have seen numerous occasions where it has happened, and having protection in place has made such a difference to the ability for that business to recover and carry on.
Yeah. So a bit more now on business disruption. So business disruption from external factors, I guess, this one.
Yeah, should I cover this? Yep.
Yeah.
It's something that, you know, a lot of companies will have PI insurance, but it's absolutely worth making sure that any general PI insurance you have covers business disruption, and definitely look at the small print. I mean, we look at Jaguar Land Rover at the moment. I mean, we've just seen a cyber attack there, which not only could destroy Jaguar Land Rover, just imagine how all their small suppliers are feeling at the moment. You know, they've been supplying Jaguar Land Rover, it's their main client, and their business has just dried up. So without good business disruption insurance, and particularly cyber, which can in a lot of cases be excluded, you know, it's a major external risk. And without having good business disruption insurance, you are at risk of, you know, any of your suppliers, particularly if you're a small business relying on one major contract.
Darren, what would you say, like, this is something that comes up a fair amount. A lot of people think that insurance is a waste of time. It's just money down the drain. What would your thoughts on that be?
Well, I think in the best outcome is the best outcome is you have the insurance, which is a small amount of money, and you don't claim on it. I mean, that is an outcome. It's actually preferred because you didn't need to claim on it. But what I can assure you is paying that small amount of money relative to, you know, turnover and salaries and other costs. If you do need to claim on it, the difference is astronomical. So it's a small price to pay for that surety to protect, you know, your family and your business. And you know,
it's a business cost, isn't it?
It's a business cost. It's always it's a business cost. Company pays for it. It's tax deductible. It's just another cost of running a business. And when people think it's an optional cost, They're wrong. It should be in the same way you would insure your business. You'll have various other costs to run the business, whether it's utility bills, buying stock. It's just another cost. And if you think it's just optional and you don't need it, you're not really running a proper business in the proper way, because you're putting that business all at risk, because these things do happen.
And would you say insurance is, in terms of business size, is it still as relevant for small as well as sort of medium to large?
Everybody. I mean, the cost of it is always relative. So for small businesses, it's still, a small amount in relative to their turnover. Larger businesses, yes, will pay more, but it's always so important. I mean, larger businesses, they'll have much more complex needs, and we might look at things like income protection for a number of staff who could have key roles within the business, whereas a smaller businesses, especially single person operated businesses, it's really just making sure that the family are protected and that what's going to happen to the business should someone suffer an illness. I mean, the power of attorneys are a big thing. People do share protection, but very few businesses we come across will have a specific power of attorney for the business, for if a business owner is unable to make decisions, and leaving that to you have to get office of the public guardian and deputies, and it would be horrendous. It would be absolutely horrendous. The business would probably fold before a legal person could be put in place to make any financial decisions.
And particularly,
yeah,
if the person who is ill has particular qualifications that are necessary to, so I'm just thinking, say you worked in a garage and the person who falls ill is the person who has the responsibility for signing off MOTs and no one else can do that, the whole thing can grind to a halt.
It can, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And similar in our situation, we are obviously regulated advisors, and you have to have those qualifications to be able to deliver that work. So obviously every example is different with businesses.
It's just being aware that a lot of businesses don't even think about a power of attorney for the business. It's very few businesses we come across have even considered it.
Yeah, very important. Okay, so last section, protecting your future. So one massive risk here, huge risk. Darren.
I mean, so often we find, business owners who say, my business is my pension, I'm just going to sell the business. The issues with that is, one, you don't know your business is going to exist. You don't know what it's going to be worth. We've just talked, about Jaguar Land Rover, and there's so many external risks that could impact the value of your business. And you can't do anything about that. It's very much a balance, we believe, between your value of your business and being able to extract as much money as you can from the business tax efficiently into a pension, which you can know is going to be separate to the business and can support you in retirement alongside whatever you sell your business for. It's a definite something we advise on, a balance. How much should you rely on your business and how much should you rely on external factors such as pensions? And we're also facing a massive change at the moment with taxation on businesses, as I'm sure we all know. Entrepreneurs relief or business asset disposal relief, which has always been what entrepreneurs have looked to sell their business tax efficiently, is being removed. It's already been reduced and it's expected to be completely removed within the next few years. On top of that, people used to say to me, I'm going to give the business to the children, they'll carry it on, they'll pay me a wage, and that'll be how I'll retire. Well, we've now got inheritance tax on businesses coming in very soon. So it isn't as tax efficient as it used to be to just rely on your business to support you in retirement or to sell it in a tax efficient way. Whereas extracting money and putting some into a pension, knowing it's separate to the business, and it's still the most tax efficient way of getting money out of a business and then drawing down from it at some time in the future. It's all a balance, but where we come across businesses that have no pension at all, and it's all about no, the company's going to be in my retirement, that's a real high risk strategy nowadays.
It's never too late to pay into the pension. A lot of people think it's too late, but it's not.
It's never too late. I mean, you've got quite good allowances. You got, people can pay in £60,000 a year. From a business, there's no link to salary, so the business can pay £60,000 to any employee as long as it's for the benefit of the employee working for the business. And you can go back for the last 3 years. So that's a total of £240,000. If you haven't paid much into pension, you can catch up with. And we do find people, in their sort of 50s, 55s, where this is becoming an issue now. They know they're going to need to retire at some time, and they've got the ability to pay these larger contributions to pension, and it's a business expense. It's fully tax deductible, whereas if you try and exit money from a business now, you're very likely to pay 50% tax between corporation tax, dividend tax, or PAYE and national insurance. I mean, whereas you can get money out into a pension without any tax whatsoever.
And it's easy to set up, isn't it?
Yeah, very easy to set up. And it can be invested at whatever sort of strategy or risk level someone's happy with, but it's external to the business. You're taking risk off the table by putting some of that money into a pension.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else from anyone else? Nope. Okay, nope. Q&A. Any questions and answers? Shall I stop sharing?
Yes, if you'd like, got some questions there. Or
we've had a few from people. Let me just. Have I stopped sharing now?
No. Yeah, we can see you now.
Oh, you can see me.
Yes.
Excellent. I'm back in the room, and I've got a headset that works. Thank you to my kind colleagues who, behind the scenes, ran to the rescue. We've got a couple of questions that have been sent in by people who couldn't attend. So, Darren, I'm hoping to sell my business in 5 to 10 years. Should I still bother putting money into a pension? We've kind of touched upon this.
Yeah. I mean, in essence, yes, because it's an extremely tax efficient way of getting money out of a business. If you do look to sell a business and there's cash in it, I mean, now because of the changing business asset disposal relief, there's arguments to be which is the most tax efficient way of getting money out of a business. A pension is generally the best way to extract money from a business. It's also worth notice that if you have large cash deposits in a business, they can be looked at very poorly by HMRC now. Then they're really not keen on companies having large cash deposits that are just sitting there doing nothing.
Absolutely. What's the best piece of business advice you would give to business owners? So I guess we've all. I
think the key thing is don't ignore insure, because so many business owners just think it's optional to insure and protect the business. It will never happen to me, and it does, and it can, and it isn't optional. So don't ignore insure.
I think my advice would probably just be make sure you pay into the pension. Pay into your pension. Look forward to the future. Almost think of it as having another savings pot as a pension. So pay something, and even if times aren't great, just pay something in every month.
Yeah,
even if it's something small.
I think I think statistically there is some statistic I've seen somewhere that people who own a business only have about 20% of the size of pension of someone that works for a company. So we get an average of someone who works, comes to retirement, they should have sort of maybe £500,000 in a pension, and business owners have only put away 100,000. I mean, so there's a lot of risk running a business, and being able to put money into a pension is a way of taking some of that risk off the table and benefiting your future self.
Absolutely. Brian, hello.
Hello,
have you
Brian.
Got a question for us?
Not really a question. It was just going back on your business disruption and cyber insurance.
Yes.
Don't just take out the insurance. Make sure you comply with the T's and C's, especially with the cyber-specific insurance. Companies are getting very specific. If you don't comply with the T's and C's, they won't pay out. So working with a company at the moment who had a policy for 15 years, hadn't told them he'd outsourced his data storage to his IT support company. And they said, sorry, mate, you haven't complied. When did you tell us you outsourced to a third party?
Wow,
really good point. And that's to sort of expand on that. Quite often we come across situations whereby people have got different insurance policies, life insurance, critical illness, income protection, which will be quite out of date. Either what they cover isn't appropriate anymore, or the sums assured are too small. People get bigger houses, bigger mortgages, things like that. So I think on that, annually check what policies you've got and make sure that they're still relevant for your needs.
Yeah, I was saying one of the things we find as well is that a lot of business owners have got life assurance and policies they pay for personally from their own bank accounts, which is not very tax efficient because you've had to take the money out of the business, pay your dividend tax, your corporation tax to get it into your personal account. Whereas we would generally advise bringing most of those policies into the business and making them tax deductible to the business, which is a far better way to fund those types of policies. So anyone that runs a business, a limited company, really should review how they pay for any protection. Linda, did you have a question there? You got your hand is up.
Yes, I do. What I was when I was looking at all the slides, there was 5 risks, and each one said insure as the solution. So can you get one insurance policy to cover all the risks is one question. Or is it you start off with a, I don't know, basic, and then, I mean, do you tailor it to each business, or does one in cover? And do you every item like on your list that you asked, is that how the costs increase for the policy? I'm just wondering from a business point of view, there's so much.
It's why you need an advisor, because there are lots of options and it's building a bespoke package that works for that company. Unfortunately, you can't have one policy doing everything.
No,
but and a lot of the times, because you've got different payouts, different people, for example, shareholder protection plan is paying out to the survivors to give them money to buy out. So the beneficiaries are different to a key man assurance, which pays out to the company. So the company can fund either finding a new key person or replacing the income that's been lost from losing that key person. So there's different things, different trusts, but all of that is why, you know, what we do is building a bespoke package based on a premium level that a company's happy. You know, companies say we can afford X, what can we get? What should we protect? What's the best way to use that money? So there's a solution for everybody at everybody's price point. It's just being open to saying, yes, we know we've got to do something. What can we do if we go this much per month?
Thank you. And you talk about the cost. Is this something that businesses can pay monthly, you know, like your car insurance, or does it have to be one lump sum?
No, it's monthly. So you can pay annually, but the vast majority of companies, it's always cash flow, and we're as keen as anything to keep you know, business cash flow as positive as possible. So, you know, paying monthly and building it into the cash flow. I mean, you're talking very small amounts, you know, in relation to a turnover.
Yeah, and as you said, it's all tax deductible.
Yeah, it's all So it's just another business expense. In the same way, people, like I say, will insure the office. You know, they'll have relevant covers for, you know, the computers, and hopefully they've got business disruption insurance. And they just sometimes forget about actually insuring the business itself and the key people within that business.
It's often cheaper to insure yourself on a life policy, for example, than it is for what people who have mobile phone insurance.
Yes.
So it's about understanding what are the risks, how big are those risks, and then as Darren said, tailoring.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of liking it to when you said, you know, what's the best outcome is that you pay the money. It's just like travel insurance. We have to have it. We hope we don't need it. It's just you just build it into the cost of your holiday, and like you're saying, for this you need to cover. You never know. That's the problem in it with insurance. Why you got it. Yeah, and my other question. Thank you very much for that. My other question is, on your last slide about exit planning, do you offer help to businesses for that?
Yes, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you know, we work with businesses. We've also got external consultancy companies which can do detailed valuation assessments of businesses, work out growth plans and efficiency strategies. So, you know, if we can't do it, we've got a partner that will.
Right.
But the key thing is building a plan for how you're going to and when you're going to exit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Because there's a lot that you cover, and I know there's a lot of detail behind all of these, you know, points.
Yeah.
So I think definitely, I would advise anyone get help.
Yeah. But one of the things we can do is we can do a what we call a groundwork report for a business. So in essence, it's a full appraisal of all of the risks and opportunities within the business that should be considered, and whether a company moves forward and actually does any of those, but it actually gives them a sort of a report where they can go, okay, we should look at considering some insurance for the shareholders, for the staff, and how we're going to exit. What are we paying into our pensions? What is the business worth? And even getting a proper business valuation and seeing what it should be worth on the open market. Some people can be very surprised. Some business owners think their businesses are worth a lot more than other people. So it's worth getting an independent appraisal.
And is there a minimum number? I mean, is it something even a sole trader would need to put in place, or is it just for businesses of a certain size?
No, it's for everybody. I mean, because you know, a sole trader really, you know, they've got their own issues. You know, what happens to them? It's the same as anybody, as on a personal basis. Up to you know, businesses we tend to deal with might have, you know, 20, 30 staff. And they will have different issues. And again, we can talk to the staff. We can, you know, it's things like, you know, private medical insurance. You know, a smaller company may not want that. They go, oh no, but once you get to 20 staff, it becomes a perk. You've got to entice people to come and work for you. So we can work with companies as well to create a sort of an employee package that makes their business a little bit more, you know, exciting than maybe going to work for someone else.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's great. Sorry, I'll go over to let somebody else say something. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Right. I think that's any other questions, else? I don't think there's any other hands up. No, I think that's good. Right. I will just very quickly share my screen again because there is one slide I want to show everybody. So can you see that? Okay.
Not yet.
Oh, has it come up yet? Sorry, my text, share that. There we go. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Well, we've got the QR code. Yeah.
Excellent. So we will, if you've registered, we will send you some resources, some information. But as I said, you can just zap the QR code and it will take you to the landing page for this webinar. And the thing I would say is, if you did find this useful, please give us a Google review. We would appreciate that a lot. And and then there's a bit of a dry finance warning here, but if you would like to discuss anything, please do get in touch and we'd be happy to chat through your circumstances and see how we can help.
Well, can I just say thank you so much. Thank you for all of you. It's been really useful. And I just feel for businesses to have this sort of help, which I didn't know was out there, is invaluable. And as you say, if anybody's got any questions, they can contact you. Is that correct?
Absolutely. They can drop us a line. And then I quite often am at obviously the Chamber of Commerce networking events and Greenwich Connect. So just come in.
And I will, I'll ask Charlie to send that out as well to people with the QR code. And as I said to everybody, this has been recorded, so you will be able to have a link to this recording on the Chamber website, and I'm sure it'll be on Ginkgo's as well. So thank you very much. It's been really informative for me, and on behalf of everyone, thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Please note, information is for general guidance only and does not constitute advice. Examples are illustrative, outcomes depend on individual circumstances, tax treatment depends on personal circumstances and may change.